It's November 9th, 2024, and earlier this week, we Americans elected Donald Trump to a second non-consecutive presidential term. Now, I've had an unexpectedly very strong, for me, emotional reaction to these events, and I felt the need to, do something a little more than just like usual one thoughtful Facebook posts. So I guess this is at least one thing, making a video that I don't usually do, just to put something out there, because there's an issue that I think is extremely important that I don't think gets enough discussion in our country today, and that is the issue of the truth and veracity. It's not controversial at all to say that telling the truth is good and telling a lie is bad. I mean, that's like the first thing you learn when you're a little kid. But I feel like we as a society have a crucial responsibility to seek, uphold, and defend the truth and to swat out lies in a way that we have failed to do. And our country is extremely polarized and extremely divided right now. And I think this is like at the very crux of the reason why. You might remember the 2016 election season when fake news made headlines. People were seeing false news stories on sites like Facebook. And that really should have prompted a longer, more continuous discussion about how we deal with false information in modern times, how we get our news and stay informed. But it hasn't done that. We haven't been talking about it that much. And I think that's a critical mistake that we've made. The internet's been around for like just about 30 years now. It's been rapidly and dramatically changing society. And a lot of that's good. I mean, I love the internet. But this new rapidly changing internet-driven society has huge implications for the truth that we have to talk about and have to address. The internet now, as time goes on, more and more shapes what happens in real life. For example, applying for jobs is almost always done online now, just submitting your resume somewhere in a very impersonal process. Online dating is often considered the main way people are expected to find their partners. Websites and apps study your activity and show you content and advertisements catered to what they think you will click on, buy, and consume. And that does actually influence very much what people click on, buy, and consume. It's made our lives more about fostering our existing interests and building our lives that way, with much less emphasis on being connected with local offline communities and expanding our interests in meeting people who are different from us. Now, not all of that is bad. It does mean that nerdy people like me can indulge in our fun, nerdy interests much more fully, and that's something that I enjoy a lot. But the problem with this new kind of society we're building is that a lot of people are going to get completely left out. There are fewer spaces now to meet and get to know people locally. If your job qualifications or your dating qualifications aren't what the rest of society is looking for, it might be almost literally impossible for you to find a job or a partner. And that's not just a scary possibility, it's already reality. Plenty of people and organizations are taking notice of this new loneliness epidemic. And what's worse is that for younger generations, everything's way more expensive than it was when our parents were our own age. The cost of education and housing is completely out of control. I don't think it's controversial to say that we all want to have a society where anybody coming out of high school can reasonably get a decent education and then in their 20s find a decent job, find a place to live and settle down, take care of themselves, and have a partner and start a family if they want to do that. I think everybody wants a society where that's feasible for all young adults, but we're falling further and further away from that. And so a lot of younger people are really not okay. And sometimes all they have is the internet. And this is where the issue of truth comes in, because they'll often find lies or conspiracy theories as to who to blame for why things are the way they are. Now, of course, lies and conspiracy theories are nothing new at all, but the internet makes them more powerful. That's not just because of the simple fact that it's easier to find them, but also psychologically what makes lies take root in our brain. A lie that's repeated over and over and over again becomes easier and easier to accept as the truth. And when you have a community of people who repeat the lie and welcome you into the community and everybody bonds over the lie, then you're hook, line, and sinker. It's not just that people get information from the internet, but they get community from the internet as well. For example, there's something called the manosphere. which is a whole network of men who talk about how women and feminism are to blame for all their problems. And it often leads to a lot of misogyny and radicalization based on lies. And that's really tragic. And of course, people in older generations grew up in a radically different world with a radically different life experience. So it's difficult for them to connect or relate to these younger people. And that makes the divide and the polarization even worse. And there's another problem with the internet, and that is, even if you want the truth, it's not always easy to find. Recently, I saw a Republican on social media share this post about how Norway raised its wealth tax, and then a bunch of really rich people left, and they actually wound up getting less revenue because of the people who left. This struck me as something that might not actually be true, and I was intrigued, and maybe it wasn't the complete picture or something like that, so I chose to Google it to try and verify the information. I saw some news articles talking about it and some people talking about it on Reddit, and so it appeared to be true. I began to process this and what I thought of it and what the implications might be if it were true. But something just didn't quite sit right with me. I guess I just didn't really see any critical responses in my results, and it just seemed off to me. So instead of moving on like I easily could have, I kept on digging. And sure enough, I found someone on social media who had gotten to the bottom of it and figured out that the information was actually false. He cites his sources, and he even went so far as to contact the Norwegian government to verify his information. Now, I feel like I have a pretty good level of media literacy, and it's not because I'm so intelligent and so special. No. It's because I've been fortunate to have people in my life who have guided me in that direction. Media literacy is not something you're born with. It's a skill that has to be fostered. So what about people who haven't had their media literacy skills fostered? It's even worse for them. I want to give another example to demonstrate this. I was hanging out recently with someone I've known for a long time. I want to keep him anonymous, so I'm going to call him Fred. Fred's a nice person with a big heart. He's pretty close to my age. He's had a very different life than mine, and he's never paid much attention to politics and never voted before. This year, Fred took a bit of an interest though, because he started to care about how unhealthy American food is because of all the unhealthy stuff in it. And we had never talked about politics before, but at our last hangout, he asked me my opinion on the presidential race. He revealed to me that he had liked RFK's Make America Healthy Again campaign because of this issue that he cares about. And because RFK endorsed Trump, he was thinking about maybe voting for Trump. Fred recognized that Trump is a bad person and even acknowledged that that's not a good thing. But he expressed common arguments to me, such as how maybe a tough guy is what America needs, maybe that'll keep Putin in his place, and maybe we shouldn't have open borders. So it was obvious to me with that kind of stuff that he was being led down a certain trail of thought. I did affirm to Fred that this unhealthy food issue that he cares about is legit and does matter. And I also added how the reason why our food is so unhealthy is because the food industry will lobby politicians so that they won't change the laws about what can be put in our food. But I also told him that while I'm not thrilled with either of the major presidential candidates, I think Trump is much worse. And one reason I cited was his clear disregard for the truth. And out of the many examples I could have picked, I cited the recent presidential debate where Trump famously lied about Haitian immigrants eating pets. Now, to someone with a lot of media literacy, the whole pet eating thing seemed like such a comically obvious falsehood to the point where we can take for granted what it's like for other people to hear a lie like that and then have other people in their life tell them it's true on top of it. When I told this to Fred, to my surprise, he pulled out his phone and he searched up a police body cam video of a woman of color in Ohio who was being arrested for eating a cat. So I quickly pulled out my own phone and Googled this video, and I found out that the video was actually real, but the video was of a woman in a different town in Ohio, and she was not a Haitian immigrant, she was actually an American-born citizen. So I was able to tell this to Fred, and he knew I was right. I do want to just add a quick note. I just found out today that there are already 3 states in America that require media literacy classes to be taught in schools. So that's some good news. That's a good start. We need more stuff like that. And the problem of finding the truth on the internet and discerning the truth might even be getting worse. Odds are you're aware of the very recent surge in AI technology, which people can ask questions to. Well, it turns out Google, which is far and away the world's #1 search engine, which most people, including myself, go to when they want to verify information, now often forces an AI answer to your Google search above all the results. And what's absolutely crazy to me about all this, not to mention alarming, is that the AI often gives wrong answers. Now, I don't believe that Google did this to deceive people, but it shows me a lack of making the truth a priority. It's not enough to just avoid lying, but we have to make sure that what we say and what information we put in the world is truthful. And we have to build a society that protects against falsehoods. That's part of why in the past I haven't been very outspoken about political topics, because the world is so complicated, and even if I mean well, I know I can easily say or spread something that's not actually fully true. When Fred realized that what Trump said about immigrants eating pets wasn't true, he suggested that maybe Trump himself just happened to get bad information. But even if I give Trump the benefit of the doubt that he actually believed what he said, that's still not enough. We have to take greater care to make sure we don't believe and spread lies. We have TV networks, websites, and apps that put profit motive above all else, above the truth. When Donald Trump and his followers falsely claimed that the 2020 election had been stolen, people on Fox News propagated those lies. And when they were sued about it, they admitted under oath that they knew it was false. Was there some fallout from this? A little bit, but not nearly enough. Fox News is still huge, still profitable. Many people still trust them. I believe that the main reason that we're so polarized and divided as a society is because we don't even have the same perception of what's true. How can you find common ground with someone when you can't even agree on what's happening in the world? Our lack of regard for the truth has created an environment where people can easily lie to gain power and then blame and demonize people they don't like to fire up their base and create division. It's never going to get better if we don't build a society that upholds the truth and actively discourages and snuffs out lies in all facets of life. It's pretty obvious that Donald Trump isn't the answer to this, but the sad part is, neither are the Democrats right now. Did you ever hear Biden or Harris talk about these issues? Did you ever hear them talk about how misinformation spreads and the new problems with information in the internet age that I've referenced in this video? Did they give any kind of a compelling picture of how we got to this point and the way forward to make it better in the future? No, they didn't. And that's a major disappointment. We have a critical need for leaders, both in government and all other areas of life, who understand how the world works now and the importance of safeguarding the truth. You might be wondering what you should do if you're not confident in your own media literacy or your own ability to spot lies or find the truth. I don't have like a perfect, clear-cut, easy answer for you. I don't want to give you like one person or one source because that sounds kind of like, I don't know, shady. But I guess what I'd say is in that case, find not just one person, but a variety of people who are different than you in different ways. And especially look for people who have positive traits like kindness, love, empathy, and understanding, and talk to those people and listen to what they have to say. It's pretty obvious that we need laws that will disincentivize people and companies from spreading lies. This is more than just about us as individuals discerning and advocating for the truth in our own lives. We as a country have to get more serious about this. There is plenty more that can be said on this topic, but that's where I'm going to leave it for now. Thank you for watching. Seek the truth, and remember to love your neighbor as yourself.